satisfied with the answers, and are you content with what you know what happened?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, there are a lot of reasons why, despite all of the hearings, all of the information that's been provided, some choose not to be satisfied and choose to continue to move forward. That's their choice, and I do not believe there is any reason for it to continue in this way, but they get to call the shots in the Congress.
All right, let me translate that for you guys, and we welcome back the panel, Grace Marie Turner and Ron Christie. Let me translate for you. First, what difference does it make? Secondly, the truth for anybody who's willing to look for it here is that there's a vast right-wing conspiracy. Now, Grace Marie, that's how I interpret that answer to a combination of her two most famous quotes.
She would love nothing more than this to go away. 4 Americans are dead, and the American people want to know whether or not the United States government did everything it could and could have to save their lives. And many, many people believe they did not, and we want to know what happened. All of this focus on talking points is really getting away from the core question the American people have. And when Hillary is, again, trying to just sort of brush it aside and to make it sound like it's politics, this is about getting to the truth of what happened in one of the most serious attacks on Americans and an American embassy or a consulate certainly in the last decade.
Ron?
Well, she's not only right, but I take it one step further. I mean, it's appalling to me how Ambassador Stevens had put in repeated requests for additional security, which those requests were denied. The military presence in Benghazi had been reduced, not increased. And you wonder when the Brits and some of our other allies who had consulates in Benghazi withdrew their diplomatic personnel because of the safety or lack thereof, it makes you wonder, why do the United States remain? And the thing that I think that is so important that we're going to get to with this new select committee that's going to be convened shortly is what specifically did the president do once he found out at 5 p.m. on September 11th, 2012, and the subsequent, I should say, 12 hours. What did he do? Who did he call? Who did he consult? Who did he order? We have no idea what the commander-in-chief was doing.
We know
yeah,
it was
that's
which is really quite alarming, actually, from an interview last weekend.
That's true. All right, one other issue that Hillary might have to explain. It's come to light today that under Hillary Clinton, the State Department reportedly go after the terror group Boko Haram, the group that's responsible for the kidnapping of those Nigerian girls and the slaughter of many Nigerians. The State Department fought hard against placing Al-Qaeda, the Al-Qaeda-linked militant group, on the official list of foreign terrorist organizations for 2 years, and now you have lawmakers and former U.S. officials saying that the decision may have hampered the government's ability to confront this group before they did all that they have recently done. So, Ron, this also lands at Hillary's doorstep.
Well, it does, Steve, and it's just yet another indication of when you have an administration that's not serious about continuing the war on terrorism, when they talk about overseas contingency operations, it makes you question why the Secretary of State would have fought repeatedly to keep this particular group off of the terrorism watch list, which could have put not only many Americans at risk, but as we've seen, this is also the group that's responsible for the kidnapping of those 300 innocent girls in Nigeria. So there's certainly a lot of questions that the former Secretary of State is going to have to account for if she decides to run for president. And frankly, I think she needs to account for them regardless, because this happened on her watch.
And Grace Marie, Hillary just recently tweeted out, access to education is a basic right and an unconscionable reason to target innocent girls. We must stand up to terrorism. Hashtag bring back our girls, reference to the terrorist act of the kidnappings.
It would have been good for her to have done that 2 years ago, when she actually had some power to really put the United States government's resources behind going after these kinds of groups. It's a little late. This politics of foot dragging in this administration, especially on its foreign policy, is putting American lives at risk and lives of these young girls at risk as well. It's absolutely abysmal. And for Hillary now to be saying she's going to stand up, when it really mattered, she didn't do it.
All right, Grace Marie Turner, Ron Christie, as always, I thank you very much for being on the Malzberg panel. We'll see you soon. And folks, we'll be back with more. When we come back, speaking of more, it dawned on me, Stephen Moore will be here, chief economist for the Heritage Foundation, will be here. But right now, I want you to pay close attention, because first, today's America's Moment takes a look back at the fall of the Berlin Wall. Stay tuned.
It was erected in the dead of night, and for 28 years separated East Germany from West Germany. The Berlin Wall quickly came to symbolize the stark difference between the free West and the communist East. In June of 1987, President Reagan visited the wall at the famous Brandenburg Gate and used the occasion to issue 2 public challenges to then Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev.
If you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
His second challenge was more blunt, and as it turned out, even more prophetic.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
On November 9th, 1989, 2 years, 5 months, and 1 day after President Reagan's famous challenge, that is exactly what happened. Only the Soviets didn't tear down the wall, the people of Berlin did. Once the East German government announced their borders to the west were open, the free people on both sides of the wall worked in unison to chip it away, piece by piece, until this monument to tyranny was completely destroyed. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.